evening. I'm Lisa Bloom in for Catherine Cryer. Well, a lavish funeral today for Anna Nicole Smith in the Bahamas. More from Danny Lynn's Guardian in a moment. But first to MSNBC's Rita Cosby and my friend, who was one of the few reporters inside the church for the service. Tell us about it, Rita. Ouch! That was the Donald dissing Howard K. Stern on MSNBC's Imus in the Morning. Where is the love, Donald? You were so forgiving with Miss USA. What happened? Richard Milstein was the appointed Guardian ad litem for little Danny Lynn, and we saw him in court during those proceedings in front of Judge Seidlin. Apparently that work continued into planning the funeral and even delivering a eulogy at Anna Nicole's funeral this morning. Take a look.
Good morning and welcome to Bloom and Politan. I'm Vinny Politan.
And I'm Lisa Bloom. Durham County DA Mike Nifong could be stripped of his law license. He's accused of mishandling the Duke rape investigation and violating the rules of professional conduct. The state bar says Nifong hid crucial evidence from the defense and made inflammatory statements to the media. Court TV correspondent Gene Casares is live in Raleigh, where Nifong's ethics hearing continues this morning. Good morning, Gene.
Good morning. Today's going to be a very big day. So that is obviously the front page headline of this newspaper, so important also to the North Carolinians.
Clearly very important to that community. And yesterday, defense attorney Brad Bannon continued his testimony on the stand. I understand that he talked about a textbook that he had to buy to kind of decipher those DNA results. Tell us about that.
Oh, it's amazing, Lisa. So he flew to Washington, where they knew of a DNA expert, and it was confirmed in early December.
And you know what's amazing about that, Vinny? All of that hard work done by that attorney. That's what attorneys do in high-profile cases, especially attorneys who are well paid on behalf of clients with a lot of resources, right? I mean, that's how it goes. If you're a public defender and you're up to your eyeballs in cases and you just don't have enough time in a day to devote that amount of time to each person, this might not have happened.
But it should never get to that point. As a lawyer, as a prosecutor, you get that information. Number one, you're just going to tell your adversary. That's the way it normally works. Listen,
that's what the ethics rules require.
You tell them. This is what we found.
My point is, if there is an overzealous prosecutor, as seems to be the case here, and you got a public defender working for somebody who doesn't have any money, this might never have been discovered.
Never would have been discovered. No way. No way. That the amount of money, time, and resources that it takes to have that done. And we're not saying public defenders aren't good.
No.
But they've got caseloads this high.
But they got 24 hours in a day.
Exactly.
And some of that they're supposed to be sleeping and maybe spend a little time with their families. All right, Gene Casares, I think it was yesterday I asked you about Mike Nifong in the courtroom. I've been watching him closely as our Court TV cameras zoom in on him during some of this testimony. I think this looks bad for him. Now, we haven't heard the defense side of things yet, but overall, there's a lot for him to answer for. How confident do you think he is in this hearing?
You know, Lisa, he appears so confident in that courtroom, and it could be a facade, of course. Any nerves on his part definitely are not showing.
How about the community? Other than his family, which we would expect to support him, and that's nice that they're supporting him. How about in the community? Is anybody there supporting him? Any prosecutors from his office? Any attorneys?
No, I can't find anyone that is supporting him.
I got some breaking news from the courtroom. Reed Seligman is taking the stand. Let's watch. We have two guests joining us now here in New York. Mike Pressler is the former head coach of the Duke lacrosse team. He also co-wrote a book called It's Not About the Truth, The Untold Story of the Duke lacrosse rape case and the Lives It Shattered. And the book's co-author, Don Yeager, also joins us. Welcome, gentlemen.
Anna did talk about death. She talked about death really from the time that I met her.
And most who knew Anna Nicole Smith tell the same story of a beautiful former cover girl completely fixated on death. So much so, it's a little surprising that she left so many legal details concerning her estate to chance. Jane Weintraub, let me bring you in, because this Richard Milstein, he was appointed a couple of weeks ago by the Florida court to be the guardian ad litem, to look out for the interests of the 5-month-old baby. What's he doing now at the funeral in the Bahamas, delivering a eulogy?
Well, Lisa, the truth of the matter is that it was probably the best thing that Judge Seidlin did here.
We heard that he was sort of mediating all of the disputes about the funeral, and the funeral pretty much went off without a hitch, so it's probably a good thing he was there. But guardian ad litem means guardian during the litigation. In the litigation over, isn't it time for Milstein to go home?
Well, it was probably the time for him to go home, because that's the kind of guy that he is.
Jean Casarez, let me bring you back in. You've been following this all so closely. Everybody certainly hopes that with laying to rest the remains of Anna Nicole, this whole thing is going to be laid to rest, but there's a lot of legal action still pending, right?
Oh, it's amazing. And I could keep going, but that's enough for now.
And Dr. Cyril Wecht, hold on a second. Dr. Cyril Wecht, with the results that we're expecting next week or so regarding the cause of death of Anna Nicole, is it possible somebody else could come forward and say, I have an alternate theory, I want to bring in my own medical examiner, and let's exhume her remains and do this over again?
It certainly is possible that one or more of the parties might consult with another forensic pathologist. As a matter of fact, I think it is likely to happen.
And Jane, is there any legal basis for Anna Nicole's remains or Daniel's remains to be exhumed and moved to Texas at this point?
Not a prayer. Sure. It is a very slow process in the Bahamas to get in front of a court.
Yeah, slow because of all that nice sunshine. They're not in any rush. All right, Dr. Cyril Wecht, thank you. And before we break, let's check in with Ashley Banfield, see what's coming up at 6 o'clock on Hollywood Heat.